This is the second part of a three-part video on how to grow plants from seeds. Seed starter mix is an inert mix that prevents soil-borne diseases from killing your young seedlings. An example would be dampening off. It does not need to be organic. I've already put the seeds in the pots for the blackberry lily and the 4th of July tomatoes, and I have sown the hosta seeds in the large flat. I've done this to speed up the time it takes to do this video. If you will crease the side of the packet at least 2/3 of the way down from the top, it will help you to distribute the seeds evenly in the pot. If you want to get your children or grandchildren interested in growing plants, you need to show them how to plant marigold seeds because they come up so quickly. Children have a short attention span and they get excited when they see progress in just a couple days. Marigolds grow well under lights, and the stocky plants will have flower heads quicker than most plants. You need to treat your seeds like young seedlings, like they were newborns. They do not need fertilizer or anything until they finish sprouting their seed leaves, which are the first leaves to grow. All they need is something to grow in, water, light, and correct temperatures that they require. The seeds I am planting in these videos need gentle bottom heat of 70 degrees. Nature through the seeds has provided all the plants it needs up to this point. Adding fertilizer will be discussed in a video when the seeds come up. These orange marigold seeds we saved from last year. The packet is in a bank cash envelope that can be sealed. The seeds have a little chaff in them, so they will be harder to slide out the seed packet. Since these are saved seeds, I do not expect them all to germinate. I am going to put the same amount in the pot as the bought yellow marigold seeds to show you the difference. I would normally sow twice the seeds if they were saved. I have another packet which I will plant. By creasing the pack, it just allows the seeds to fall out, and not all of them fall out at the same time. This packet contains more than just seeds. There are pieces of the seed heads off the marigolds, and it's just having trouble coming out the packet of seeds. Yellow marigold seeds were bought. You will notice the seeds will slide out the crease very easily, and you can flick the package with your finger to get them to slide out. The zinnia seeds were bought, and I was surprised at how few seeds were in the packet. I will remember this the next time I buy seeds. It could be that just the machine shorted this packet. We plant all the flowers that we grow from seed. Bought seeds usually have about a 95% germination rate, and saved seeds can be anywhere from 30 to 80% depending on the type seed. California wonder peppers are next, and they usually take a little longer than most seeds because the seed cover is harder and it takes a little time for the moisture to activate growth. These are saved seeds, so I'm taking a risk. If they do not come up, I will have lost a couple weeks. I only need about 8 plants for my garden. Next is the hybrid 4th of July tomatoes. They've been planted. They have not been out very long. I discovered them 2 years ago, and Burpee makes them, and they taste great. And I get 80 to 125 tomatoes per plant. I need 13 plants. Next to it was the blackberry lilies. The tomatoes that I'm planting, we've planted over 30 different big tomatoes over the years and settled on the hybrid Better Boy tomato as the best to grow, and it is now being sown. Some of the larger tomatoes look great, but we have found the center of the tomato is so pithy that you have to cut it out. Although a slice of Better Boy will not cover a piece of bread, it's uniformly round and you can eat almost a whole tomato. We need 13 plants. We buy these from the Park Seed Company. We've used Park for 40 years. The last seeds are hybrid Sweet Million. We started with Sweet 100s years ago and then Super Sweet 100s and then switched to Sweet Million. The problem with the Sweet 100 series was they split down the sides when it rained and they get sunspots on them late in the season. They do have a great taste and flavor, but we found that the Sweet Million gave us more edible fruit and still had great taste, good size, did not split as much, and tolerated the sun better. We buy these from Park Seed Company as well as most of our seeds. Now the plants need to be covered. Some seeds do not need to be covered to germinate, but all of these seeds we've planted today need to be covered. A good rule of thumb is if you're not sure how much depth the cover should be, you should cover it to the depth of the size of the seed. The larger the seed, the longer the root will be, and that will allow the upper part of the plant to reach the light it requires to grow. I used screen sphagnum moss to cover my seeds. You might make a screen with duct tape, buy a child sandbox screen, or make a permanent one with wood. You will notice that the wooden box has window screen material on it, which I think is the best to use. You just fold over and staple the screen to the bottom. I've used this wooden box that you're going to see in a minute for over 15 years. A bag of sphagnum moss will last us 5 years or more if you keep it dry and the bag sealed. Several companies make this product, but I like Hoffman's the best. I just put several handfuls in the sifter box and sift while checking how much is being used to cover the seeds uniformly. You will notice the light color of the sifted material. When you gently spray the top of the covered plants with water, the material turns a darker color. Since moisture is the most important thing for seeds to germinate, you must never allow the seeds to dry out when they're in the process of starting life. The sifted moss retains moisture longer than anything I know of, and you can see if the color is turning lighter instantly and needs to be watered. Until the time the seedling has sprouted, its seed leaves moisture is critical and must be monitored. If you grow your seeds like I do in a greenhouse, mine is 8 foot by 13 feet, you'll have other conditions to factor in. I have extended the sides of my grow light reflective covers with pieces of aluminum from old grow lights by riveting them in place. It extends the amount of reflected light and shields the plants from direct sunlight that enter the greenhouse. Direct sunlight on my pots of seeds will dry them out quicker than anything. If the outside temperature is anywhere above freezing like it's been this spring, the greenhouse will need maximum ventilation even if you have to use an electric fan. I did not fill my trays with water and let the pots soak up all they needed for several hours before doing this video because it made doing the video easier to do. The following covers information based on you having let the pots soak up water like I normally do. The pots sat in water before you planted. Your seeds and sifted sphagnum moss covered your seeds. The soilless mix is moist and it will wick moisture up into the moss-covered seeds. Feel the weight of the pots. Later, to check to see if the soilless mix is drying out in the bottom of the pot, you can just lift the pot and feel if it's lighter. I keep a gallon watering can full of water in my greenhouse so the temperature of the water matches the temperature in the greenhouse. When my trays need water to replenish the soilless mix in the bottom of the pots, I pour an inch of water in the level tray and let the pots soak up the amount of water they need. Then I remove the excess water. If the plants are constantly too wet, they can be susceptible to any disease problems associated with too much moisture. You need to spray the tops to keep the seeds moist until they germinate. After they have leaves, you need to stop watering the top of the plants. Put the water in the tray and keep the lower soil moist. This forces the plant to send down roots to get to the water. If water is present in the top of the plant doesn't have to send down deep roots. What we want is the maximum amount of roots at this point, so I can grow the most and largest fruit.